Good. And then bend your knees and gently roll out and come up to seated posture. And actually, we're going to continue to use the wall. So take your mat and place it at the edge of the wall if you don't already have so. Have it on the edge. Kerith, you may want to use the actual wall because there'll be a little pressure on the glass if you put it on glass. Yeah, that's enough. That much is enough. And turn the mat so it's vertical. The narrow side of the mat is against the edge of the wall. And once you have that, and also some of you, I can't really see you. So if you can turn your camera so I'm able to see you, that would be helpful. Helpful to me, at least. If you think it's going to be helpful for you, then do it. Otherwise, it's fine. Okay. And then sit down, just sit against the wall with your back on the wall and sit in any cross-legged position. Or for you, Laurie, better to just be straight, yeah. Laurie, you could put just 2 bricks under your knees, let them support the knees, slightly bent. And that'll help you to relax a little bit more. And Kerith, before you get too comfortable there, this may be a good time for you to share, if you'd like to. Thank you. Because it is a nice posture, just sitting there against the wall.
It is. Okay. So I thought this was a really nice moment to share what I saw as a link between the Torah portion that we read this Saturday and the Torah portion that we're going to read next Saturday. The link between these 2 Torah portions, that link is rooted in argument, it's rooted in rebellion, and it's rooted in unrest. So the first argument that we have is an argument between 2 groups of people who were sent out to view the land, and they're called the scouts. There are 2 people who return with a positive impression and 8 who are absolutely terrified. And the Israelites are verging on outright rebellion against Moses. God threatens to wipe out the wandering Israelites, and Moses recites a formulation that seems to me like it's kind of this talisman of words asking God to forgive the Israelites. And he used a similar version earlier during the Exodus during the golden calf incident. What's most interesting about this section is that what becomes stressed in this version of those words that he uses asking God for forgiveness is this phrase, slow to anger. It appears in both of these different sections of the Torah. And while previously in the golden calf incident, Moses also asked for grace, compassion, mercy, truth, and kindness, but they're left out of this version of his asking God for forgiveness. Those qualities are certainly deserving of our attention. So Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev felt that this omission was very intentional. And he felt that the qualities of compassion and graciousness in particular did not apply to the scouts. Why was that? He believed that the Israelites who created the golden calf sinned against God, but the Israelites, the scouts and the people who believed them, sinned against themselves. And I think he was asking this question: how can God have compassion and grace for people who have no compassion and grace for themselves? So the thing that Moses ends up asking God for in this particular case is that God be slow to anger. So that's the portion that we're leaving. We're entering next week another portion where we have this character named Korach who is rising up in rebellion against Moses. And in Pirkei Avot, which is a commentary, the sayings of our fathers, we learn this. We learn that every argument that is for the sake of heaven's name, it is destined to endure. But if it is not for the sake of heaven's name, it is not destined to endure. What is an example of an argument for the sake of heaven's name? The argument of Hillel and Shammai. What is an example of an argument not for the sake of heaven's name? The argument of Korach and all of his followers. So I think it's pretty widely accepted that an argument for the sake of heaven's name means that it's for a greater purpose. If an argument is for the sake of heaven's name, it's worthwhile having, it's really for a greater purpose. You're not putting it out there to get something for yourself. But I think that there's even a little more here. So Hillel and Shammai, who are recognized in this reading from Pirkei Avot that I shared with you, were rabbis of antiquity who were both noted scholars and who had many followers. You may note that there are not any Shammai houses on college campuses, but I bet all of you have heard of a Hillel house. Suffice it to say that the majority of Hillel's arguments were recorded in our history as having won out over Shammai's, in that Jewish practice and law is in conjunction with Hillel's teachings. But the really interesting thing is that in the Talmud, even though it was Hillel's arguments which won out, we don't just have Hillel's arguments recorded for posterity. We also have Shammai's living right alongside them. While the two men disagreed and they argued with one another, they also listened to one another. And we listen. Our tradition tells us that we need to hear points of view that are different from our own. It's a human quality that when we hear views that are not in accordance with our own, we can respond with revulsion. We respond sometimes in anger as well. To me, that's what brings these two sections of Torah together. In order to be able to listen to points of view that differ from our own without responding in anger, we need to be less like the scouts. We need to be less like Korach, who were full of ego and acted or responded in a manner that was rash. We need to be more like our ancient teachers, Hillel and Shammai, who, though they had great difference, probably had to quell their initial response to one another, which may very well have been anger. And instead, they listened to one another. And through doing that, they created a foundation of Jewish practice that still lives on today. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Thank you, Kerith. Thank you for that beautiful teaching. Since we're in a comfortable position, let me, and Kerith, if you want to enjoy it, you can go back to the wall and just sit in it. When we talk about listening, right? Listening is, in itself, it's an act of compassion. It's just making room and space to deeply listen to even just yourself. I'm going to start with just yourself, your own body, what's going on, because that skill then applies to include others around you. But even the capacity to, ability to, and the skill to do it with just your own body, it's creating a, just listening itself is creating an environment of compassion, right? Especially if you're in pain or if you have an injury, it's even more relevant in that case. Even if you don't, it is, because you can listen, and if you don't have anything going on, you feel great, you can listen and enjoy that, right? If you don't listen, you don't even create the space to appreciate and enjoy what you have, right? And when you have an injury, it's very interesting for me personally. When I go to study with a teacher or even practice with a teacher, I want to know if the teacher knows what injury is and has worked through that in their own experience, right? As opposed to teachers who can just like go into any position and like an acrobat and do that. Not to say that they may not have worked through it, they may have too. But the point is that injury teaches you how to really listen, yeah, and how to be compassionate with yourself, how to be loving, how to be kind, and respond like that. Now, there are people, even if there is injury, they will push through it, not listen to it. That compassion won't be there, the kindness won't be there. They will push through it. There are many people like that. They may not have, learned how to do it correctly, whatever the reason may be. So it's when you develop that listening from a place of compassion within yourself, not just in your body, but also in your emotional body, day-to-day life situations, then you can extend that in your response to those around you. Usually, pretty much everyone is going through some form of suffering or the other at any given point, right? So you can say that people are usually injured to some level or the other, by default, something, And imagine if you were to like just push through, not even listen, not even be compassionate, nothing, just push through and just like go on life like that. It would not be a very kind world to live in, So learning to listen, to be compassionate towards yourself, and extending that to that skill and that ability to those around you, it really is congruent with a higher purpose of love, kindness, empathy, community, being the interconnectedness of all of us in our existence and the trials and tribulations that accompany that. So it's more than just yourself, it's the whole, right? There's more that's beyond you, as well as you can extend that to all sentient beings, all in the planets that we live in. But it starts with a practice and an approach within yourself. So try to listen to yourself as much as you can. Use the practice, the physical practice. Really, it helps you to listen to what's going on within yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally. It will help you develop the skill of being a kinder human being. Okay. So please come to, just lie down. I want you to lie down with your feet towards the wall, the edge of the wall and the floor. And start with your knees slightly bent and place the heels right at the edge, feet on the wall, the toes on the wall, and then slightly bend and then press down, press with your feet, press the wall with your heels, and using that, move the body back to straighten your legs. And don't lift the shoulders up, just push the legs so that'll tuck the tailbone and the shoulder blades under naturally when you do that. And then become aware of your feet on the wall. Your feet can be either together. This is like reclining mountain pose. So feet can be together or hip distance apart, heels slightly out. And we're going to use the wall today because you have the reference of the wall against your feet, and that'll help in the action. And what I forgot to tell you is that you need your belt. I'm sorry that I forgot, but if it's right there next to you, grab it. Otherwise, let's grab it and come back. Sometimes my memory is out of order, but anyway, okay. Bend your right knee slightly and hook the belt around the arch of the right foot. And straighten the right leg. Bring it to a 90-degree angle or towards a 90-degree angle. Hold the belt with both your hands. One side of the belt with the corresponding hand. Yeah. And take your hands up the belt. If you don't have a belt, that's fine. You can just interlock your fingers behind your thigh. That's fine too. And straighten the leg any amount without forcing. And now work on the feet, flexing the right foot. Now you have the reference of the wall, a real reference of the left foot going against the wall. So ground the center of your heel, flex the foot, big toe mount and the little toe mount on the wall. Now visualize, imagine that your right foot is on the ceiling and do the same with the right foot. Now, of course, if your hamstring is tight, you may not be able to straighten the leg completely. That's fine. But then the ceiling will be at a diagonal on your foot. So flex the right foot. So flexing means pulling the toes in, yeah. And just stay there a little bit. And as you stay in the posture, every action you do will create some kind of a effect in the body. So try to even keep track of that. Listen to what's going on as you do the postures. A heightened, not a heightened, but a state of awareness that can see and feel every little thing. So rather than putting all your energy in the actions, do the actions and then put the energy into your awareness, to listening. Where do you feel it? Which part of the body is tight? Which part is open? Can I relax some area to create more space? And like you did in the beginning, you first listen and then respond in ways that are positive to the body. And positive in asana would mean creating more space, more length, more ease, while holding the body with your actions. Good, and then hold the belt with just your right hand, hold it high up, please. Left hand at the root of left hand at the front of the left pelvis. And relax the left foot, left leg. It's okay that it relaxes now. Pull the right leg into your chest. And let's see, Mana, if you can hold the belt up a little higher, that will be better. Pull the right leg in and exhale, relax, and take the right leg to the right. Bend the elbow and stop when your right elbow touches the floor. Stop in the half position there. And there's a slight external rotation now of the right thigh. So you're turning the foot and the knee to the right in a clockwise direction. And then once again, straighten the leg in your mount. Now come to the left side. Notice what has happened is your heel gone off the floor. And take the heel to the wall. Take the heel to the wall. Release the big toe mound, little toe mound. Debbie, right legs to the right, please. I'm talking about the left leg. Left heel, big toe mound, little toe mound on the wall. And ground the left buttock on the floor. You may have to lift the right leg up slightly to do that. Debbie, do the right side again, please. What we worked on earlier. Do that again first. Take it to the right. Stop when the elbow touches. And then work the left side. Yeah. And then notice what is happening at the hip joint, the groins, the left side of the back. And come up, please. Bring the leg back up. And exhale, release. One of the basic requisites for yoga is the presence of the quality of awareness, because it all begins from the quality of awareness. And awareness is connected to listening. Or listening is a part of awareness. Okay, and then bend your left knee, hook the belt around the left foot. And straighten the left leg in your mount. External rotation, slight external rotation of the left thigh. You can use your left hand to help you lengthen the left side of the waist. And as you straighten, notice first, become aware, is it different? Is it tighter on this side? For a lot of us, the left side is tighter. It could be the opposite as well. Flex the left foot. Then take the heel, the right heel to the wall. Press it against that. And then big toe mound, little toe mound on the wall as well. And imagine that your foot is on the ceiling, the left one, and same action on that side. And once you apply the actions, hold the body with your actions, and rather than just, overdoing something, make room instead to become more aware of what's going on. as you hold the body with your actions. And from that awareness, from that listening, maybe you apply, refine your action, or relax some areas to find a little more ease, a little more opening, a little more balance. So work on expanding your awareness rather than how much you can pull the leg forward or those kind of things. Then hold the belt with your left hand only, hold high up till the elbow becomes straight, and then pull the leg in towards your chest, relax the right leg, and then take it to your left. Don't let the belt slip, bend the elbow, and stop when the elbow touches the floor. External rotation of the left thigh, knee, and foot, which means you'll turn it to the left in an anti-clockwise direction. And then work on the right side. Right heel to the wall, big toe mound, little toe mound. Ground the right buttock on the floor. Relax the left hip and pull the leg towards your shoulder so the hamstring opens. Good, come back to center and release, please. Bend your knees, roll over to your side, come up to a seated posture. If you have a blanket, please fold the blanket and sit down on the blanket. You can also use a thin cushion to sit on. Laurie, do you feel it in your hips? Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Usually if the ankle or knee, something happens, you feel it in the hips. That's why it's good to practice, so you can release the hips, you know.
My knee feels so much better. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, straight leg postures are good for the knee, so yeah. And okay, we're going into Janus Asana. So here, one knee is bent for you, Laurie, so you can adjust the brick and don't take the foot too high up. It can just be just under the knee. So bend the, everyone interlock your fingers behind your right knee and pull the right knee in, bend it, pull it in, pull the foot in towards your hip and in line with the, no, that's okay. And then release the right knee to the right and right foot against the left inner thigh. You can go back, Aileen, you can go back to the mat. You can change the mat if you need to. Okay. So once you're comfortable there, you have your belt right next to you. So have the belt there. We're going to go into a prep for forward bending. So it's not a forward bending posture yet. Place your hands on either side of your extended leg in front of your torso. And bring your torso perpendicular at a 90-degree angle. Lift your sternum up. Take your navel to the left. Flex the left foot like you just did against the wall. Think of your foot being against the wall there, and big toe, little toe mound, center of your heel against that wall. And then hold your belt with your hands. Straighten your hands, pushing the belt forward, and take the belt above your head. Straighten your arms, take the hands and belt above your head. And then turn your navel to the left again. Flex the left foot, look at your left big toe, and then look up and release, keep your torso perpendicular, just release your hands and put the belt around your foot. So you're not forward folding here yet, you're just like releasing the hands and holding the foot. Now hold the belt loosely and bring your torso to a 90-degree angle again. And when you do that, both sit bones will descend towards the floor. Flex your foot just like you did with your foot against the wall. Heel, big toe mound, little toe mound against the imaginary wall. And using your hands, pull the belt. Pull the belt strongly, lift your chest up, sternum up, turn the elbow eyes to face up towards the ceiling. This will widen your collarbones and take your shoulder blades down your back. Hands are straight here. So hold the belt forward enough that your hands are straight. And then look up to the ceiling. Laurie, take your hands forward more. The elbow should not bend here. Yeah. And lift your chest up, look up. Squeeze the back muscles into the back ribs. And this is a bit of a strong action. So if you feel like you're completely relaxed there, apply a little more action to squeeze the back muscles into the back body. Good, and release, please. Do it on the other side. So set your legs up for the other side. And here, yeah, you can, that's it, Laura, that's good. And once you put the belt around, you put the belt around the foot, and holding the belt loosely, bring the torso back so it's 90 degrees angle to the floor. And first work the foot, the right foot, big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel against the imaginary wall that it's on. Activate the thigh. And it's important that the elbows are straight, so keeping the torso perpendicular. Hold the belt so the elbows are straight. And then pull on the belt, turn the elbow eyes up, lift your sternum up, and look up. Shoulder blades down your back. And use the inner shoulder blades to come towards each other and push the rib cage from behind. And the back muscles to activate and come into the back body. And release, please. That's just a prep for forward bending. A lot of times in the physical practice, we actually engage the muscles that we're going to then open. So we just did that. We engaged the back muscles. Now we're going to work on opening them. You can take your feet. Let's see. Everyone's got bricks, right? So just bring your bricks close to you. Have your bricks close to you. So you're going to use that to support the head. Okay, and sit with your legs straight forward as you've been, and take your feet about hip distance apart, just slightly apart, and place your bricks in between your knees on the long side. Yeah, just put it on the floor. Yeah, it's just for your head. So finally, so have both bricks close to you so you can adjust once you get into the posture. And placing your hands next to your hips. Lift your sternum up. Take your shoulders back, drop them down. Bring your elbows towards your torso. And then flex your feet like the wall. Your feet are against the wall. Like that. Bring your hands to Namaste. Lift your sternum up, interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, and take your hands above your head. Lengthen here. You have to recharge those actions in the feet and your thighs, lifting the kneecaps to open the back of the legs, the arms to lengthen the sides of your waist. And then look up, release the interlock. This time, fold from the hip joint. Don't release your hands first. Fold from the hip joint, take the torso down as much as you can, is available, and then release the hands to wherever's comfortable for you. In the half position, lengthen the sternum forward and lift the chest a little bit. Lift the chest like you did in the previous posture. Lengthen the sternum and squeeze the back muscles into the back body. Shoulder blades down your back and push the rib cage with the lower shoulder blades. Lengthen the sternum forward. You're a little deeper, but it's the same action as the previous posture, the prep we did. Now you can stay there if you're more open. Inhale, lengthen the sternum forward with that action in the back body. Exhale and fold from the hip joint. And with one exhalation, release your head wherever it reaches. And then place the brick to meet the head, not the opposite. Don't try to take the head to the brick. Instead, adjust the brick to meet the head wherever you reached naturally. Now, if you haven't gone in too deep, then the posture, you will be able to find more ease in the posture and more comfort. If you've gone too deep, then it's going to create a little bit of agitation in the mind. So back off if your mind is agitated, if your body is saying things to you like you're too deep, basically. So listen first, and then from the listening, come to a place of ease in your body, in your breath. And then just through your sense of feeling and not without looking, try to get a sense of where your ankles are, the action in your feet, where your knees are, what's going on around the knees. And relax any tightness or pain in the hip joint. What's happening in the wrists, elbows, shoulders. Good. And inhale. Come up, please. Interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, and take your hands above your head to lengthen the spine and release. And exhale, release your hands. Okay. Next one, we are going into a forward fold again, but this time you're going to place the flat brick under your heels and put both your heels on the brick. So put the flat brick. You can start by putting it in between your feet and then put the heels on the brick. If you don't have a brick, it's okay. You can maybe use a book or something, or I don't know, something that will help you elevate. Okay. This will open the back of the knees a little bit more. It's actually good. It's really good for the knees. And since we all have knees, whether they're injured or not, it will be good for all of us. Okay, so place your hands next to your hips and lift your sternum up. Same actions as the previous one. And here, your feet will automatically be a little more flexed with the feet lifted. With the feet lifted. And they're opening the calf muscles and the back of the knees a little bit more here. And as I mentioned earlier, keep track of what happens when you, with every little change that you do in the practice. Keep track of it. How does it feel? What's happening in the body? Is it beneficial or not? Sometimes it may not, so keep track of it. Bring your hands to Namaste. Lift your sternum up. Here it'll be a little more challenging without your hands on the floor. Lengthen the sternum up. And then interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, take your hands above your head. And lengthen here. And what is the difference between this posture here and how you did it with the feet on the floor? Release the interlock, point the fingers up, look up. Relax the hip joint and fold. Then release your hands and wherever's comfortable for you. So here, of course, know that the fold will be a little more challenging here. So instead of trying to go deeper, lengthen the sternum forward and pulling on your legs or your feet. Actually, lengthen the sternum forward and move the chest away from the legs a little bit and bring the back muscles into the back body. Then from there, just with one exhalation, inhale, lengthen the sternum forward, exhale, just one exhalation, take the elbows out, relax the hips, and then release the head. Now, even if the head is released, the sternum still needs to be moving forward a bit. Now, ideally, your head would be on something, but you don't have all the props here. But if you have a prop that you can use, you're welcome to place it under your head, even in this posture. And find that ease from listening to what's going on and adjusting your actions towards finding that positive space, physically, mentally, of steadiness and ease. And just as you scanned your body in the beginning of the class with your awareness, scan it here in the posture. Become more aware of what's going on. Good. Inhale. Come on, please. Interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, take your hands above your head. To lengthen the spine. And then release your hands. Okay, and then take your feet off the brick and have both bricks close to you. Now we're going into the forward fold with the bent knee. So start with your legs straight and then bend the right knee and release the right knee to the floor or the brick, if you're using a brick on the right. And go into the forward fold. Place your hands on either side of the extended leg. Let me take you on this side. Flex the foot first, left foot. Lift the sternum up and turn the navel to your left. Look at your left big toe. And then bring your hands to Namaste. Lift the sternum, interlock your fingers in front and straighten your arms. Take your hands above your head. And navel to the left again. Look at your left big toe. So it's just the navel. It's not the head turning. It's only the navel. Sometimes the head will turn, the navel will stay in the same place. So turn the navel and keep the head in the same place. release the interlock, point your fingers up, and exhale, relax the hip joint, release the torso, and hold wherever is comfortable for you. And in the half position, pull wherever you're holding, lengthen the sternum towards your chin, and lift the chest away from your leg to bring the back muscles into the body, the back body, and also to open the hip joint. And then from here, inhale, lengthen the sternum forward, exhale, elbows out to the side, relax the hip joint, and fold. Look at your big toe as you fold. And just release with one exhalation wherever you reach. Look at the big toe, and then place the brick under your forehead. So once again, don't try to take your head to the brick. Place the brick to the head. That way, you're not overdoing it, and you stay safe. Or it's okay, just keep your head in the air, it's fine. If you can't reach, just look forward a bit. In order to listen, you have to be present. Being present means that your mind is fully engrossed in whatever you're doing, whatever is happening at this moment. And being present is also connected to how expansive your awareness is, how refined your awareness is. So rather than, oh, I want to go deeper in the posture, I want to put my head on my leg, this and that, focus on how much you can increase your awareness of your experience of the posture. Good. Inhale, come up, please. Exhale, release, and set up for the other side. And go and sit on your own, please. And try to find the ease first in the posture once you're in it. Release the head as well. Put the brick to meet your head, if that's available. And find that quality of ease in the posture, where you're able to have some freedom to breathe normally, for the body to relax and to breathe normally. And once again, instead of trying to achieve going deeper and all of that, more ego-based practice, try to focus instead on spreading your awareness. One easy way to do that is to become aware of the 12 major joints, your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, and wrists in the posture. And as you become aware of those joints, you'll also become aware of any discomfort or pain or anything like that, and then respond with compassion towards yourself, with kindness. So adjust your actions to accommodate, creating that environment of compassion and love and kindness towards yourself. Good. Inhale, come up, please. Interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, take your hands above your head to lengthen the spine, and then release. Always good to do that, going into forward bends and coming out to reset the spine a bit. Okay. Does everyone have a belt, or does someone not have a belt? If you don't have a belt, can you put your hand up? Oh, looks like everyone does, right? Okay. So then have your belt with you and move away from the wall a bit, because you're going to go into boat pose. Have your belt close to you. Sit with your legs straight in front on the mat and torso perpendicular to the floor. Take your hands back, take your hands back as far back as you can with your fingers pointed forward, lean back. And pushing down on your hands, lift your sternum, lengthen the front body, lengthen the sternum. And continue to look forward. And here, when you lengthen the sternum up, it's going to bring the natural curve in the low back, to lengthen the low back so it doesn't collapse and get loaded. So this is an important action in boat pose. Okay, so yeah. Alien, if you can take your fingers back if that's bothering you, that's okay, yeah. And bend your knees, please. Place your feet on the floor. And continue to look forward here, straight at eye level. And once again, lift your sternum, lengthen the sternum and lengthen the low back. Now, take the knees into your chest. Your feet will lift off the floor and bring your ankles in line with your knees, so at the same height as your knees. Yeah, and flex your feet like you did earlier. Lift the chest up to lengthen the low back. Lift the core. Usually the low back will get loaded here, so push down on the wrist, lift the sternum up. Good, and release. Cross your shins, bring your hands next to your hips. Cross your shins, and just lift your hips up for a second and drop it down. Drop them down, yeah, just a little bit, not even forward, just go up and down, yeah. Okay, and second one, take your hands back. Now I'm taking you deeper in this posture, so you're welcome to stay in the previous version of it if that's more manageable for you. Again, listen and be kind to yourself. Be strong and kind. Okay, and lift your knees up, bring the knees towards the chest, ankles in line with your knees, flex the feet. Now lift the sternum up, lengthen the low back, and without taking the knees away from you, straighten the legs, bring the feet up more towards your head. Yes, towards the ceiling, correct. Lift the sternum up, The legs will straighten. Yes, without the knees going back. Lift the sternum up. Look at your big toes touching, inner next of the big toes touching. And then you can listen here too. The body is screaming a little bit, but listen to that too. That's fine. Okay, and then release. Yeah. Bring your hands in line with your hips. Cross your shins. Inhale. Lift the hips up, straight up. Exhale, drop it down. Yeah. Next one. Next one. Again, you can repeat any of the previous versions that we did. We will take you a little deeper. Okay. So start with your hands. Oh, actually, let's see. Yeah, maybe we don't need the belt. So start with your hands back. Bend your knees, feet on the floor. First version is just lifting the feet up. Bring the knees in towards your chest. Lift the ankles, feet in line with your knees. That's the first one. You can stay here. Second is keep the knees where they are and take the feet up to straighten the legs. Flex the feet. And now lift the chest up. And now maybe you stay there, or full version, take the hands in front in line with your knees. Lift the chest up right there. And release, please. Cross your shins, release your hands next to your hips. Inhale, lift your hips up, exhale, release. Laurie, have you been doing Virasana? Have you been doing it? Or no?
Not since
Not since that.
but maybe I should do it and just be very high up. What do you think? It might be good.
It's a little challenging to do it online, you know, because you have injuries. I want you to be careful with it. So yeah. It's fine. It's okay. We won't do that. Just come to seated, please, everyone. Straight legs. It's fine because there are thousands of other postures. Nothing to worry about.
I think by next week, probably. But I can do a forward bend and everyone else can do if you want.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. You're not holding anyone back. All the other postures are equally important, so it's fine. Take the straight legs apart, please. Take your straight legs apart. Use your hands at your inner knees to pull one leg to the side and then the other to the side. So use your hands to help you with that. Okay. And place your hands next to your hips. Lift your sternum up, shoulders back and down. Turn your fingers forward if you can, please. That's better for the shoulder joint and the hip joint. And point your toes straight up, knees straight up. Internal rotation of the legs. You can just stay here. If your weight is dropping through the center of your sit bones or the front of the sit bones, then you can go to the next stages. Bring your hands to Namaste, lift your sternum up, interlock your fingers in front, straighten your arms, and take your hands above your head. Now here, if the weight is on the back of the sit bones, then it's better for you to just stay here. Otherwise, look up, release the interlock, point your fingers, and exhale. Fold from the hip joint, bring your torso down first to wherever it goes naturally, and then release your hands to wherever's comfortable, whether it's on the floor or your feet or whatever works for you. In the half position, lengthen the sternum forward. And like you did in the previous forward folds, lengthen the sternum and then take the chest back a bit. Squeeze the back muscles into the back body. till your arms become straight and the sternum lifts, and that will open the hip joint. This is the next stage, the half position here. And if you're more open, inhale, lengthen forward. Listen to the body before you go deeper. It'll tell you whether you can or not. Basically, if your body is relaxed, you can go in. If it's already being challenged, then listen to that, respect it, and stay where you are and lengthen in the act of being kind towards yourself, loving towards yourself, and compassionate as well. Good, and inhale, come up, please. Interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, take your hands above your head. And then release. Bend your knees and join the soles of your feet. Now that may be too much. So Laurie, maybe sit on a bolster and bend, and then sit in Baddha Konasana and support your knees with the bricks. See if that's okay for you. Everyone else, you can just bend your knees. Join the soles of your feet. Your knees will be out to the side. And similar actions to all the postures we've been doing till now. Here, the action of the feet pressing against each other, the heels and the outer edges of the feet, they come into the posture. So place your hands next to your hips on the bolster or the floor and lift your sternum up. Take the shoulders back, drop your shoulder blades down. And then press the center of your heels. Debbie, if that's problematic for you, yeah, don't do it. Just cross your legs, it's fine. Just sit in a cross-leg position, yeah. And pressing the center of your heels and the outer edges of your feet, move the big toe mounds and the big toes away from each other to open the groins. And stay here, please. To open the hip joint. Now, before you move to the next stage, take stock of what's going on in the body. Are you completely relaxed here, where you're able to breathe easily? There may be a little bit of a challenge, but within the challenge, are you able to relax completely and find that quality of ease? Or is it too challenging and you feel the tightness that you're not able to find that freedom in the movement? Then maybe just stay here. If you're more free, then bring the hands to Namaste, lift your sternum up, interlock your fingers in front, straighten your arms, hands above your head. Same actions as the previous postures. Lengthen here. This is the next stage of the posture. And listen again and ask whether it's okay for you to fold forward. And then if it's okay, then fold forward. Release your hands to wherever it reaches comfortably, on the floor, or you can even hold your feet. And lengthen the sternum forward, and naturally you would have accessed some tightness in your groins here. So a response to that would be to suggest for those areas to relax. Always moving towards the quality of ease in your practice, resolving any conflict of tightness, allowing it to relax and finding that ease. Okay, good. And inhale, come up, please. Interlock your fingers, straighten your arms, take your hands above your head. And release. Last posture, we're going into the same posture, but lying down, Supta Baddha Konasana. So you can use your bolster if you know how to. If you have a bolster, just place it behind vertically and put a blanket for your head as you lie down on the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, just lie down on the floor. And Laurie, you can just have your legs straight, Laurie, instead of, unless it feels good for you, but it could, because it could stretch that area a little bit, so that the inner knees, so it could be good too, just maybe support the knees. Don't use the belt, Laurie. No, just let it be natural. Maybe too much. And continue to connect with your faculty of awareness. And since the beginning of the class to now, a lot of things have happened, so things have changed. And maybe the message that you get from your body is different now. And you can continue to stay there. Kerith, whenever you're ready, begin to come out. You can stay there, those of you in the posture.
Okay. Everyone, you can just stay where you are. You know, this idea of listening, sometimes we think we're listening and we're not necessarily actually listening. I know in my family of origin growing up, we had a habit of like jumping in right, you know, the second someone was done talking, and everyone, while the other one was talking, is thinking about what am I going to say next, or how am I going to respond to that, or sometimes offering to fix too, right? Oh, I have a way to fix what you're offering or what's going on in your life. It's not a bad thing, but it's not listening. So when we think about listening, it's also not necessarily fixing, is even with what's going on in our own bodies or for ourselves. And it's not necessarily thinking about what do I say next, what do I do next for myself or for others or in response to others. So I wanted to just offer this poem. And then when I'm done with the poem, I'll lead us in Havdalah. And if you want to, when we're doing Havdalah, you're more than welcome to come out slowly, gently, and to listen to yourself. And if staying where you are is where you should be, that's also very good. So this is a poem by Bruce Coriel, and it's called Teach Us to Listen. Teach us to listen to the silence posed by unanswerable questions, to the silence imposed by the rupture of safety, and to that most frightening silence when we can no longer find you anywhere. Help us to remember when the memory is too distant and when the memory is too fresh, when the memory is too painful and when the memory is too dull, when the memory is too horrible and when the memory is too mundane, and when we cannot remember for us. Inspire us to act with extraordinary courage in the midst of ordinary times, with ordinary goodness in the face of extraordinary crisis, and with unbounded imagination that dares to risk the possibility of hope. Teach us, help us, inspire us to listen, to remember, and to act, and never to quit. Amen.
Those of you still in the posture, up to you if you want to stay there or make your way to a more comfortable. If you're comfortable there and you want to stay, just stay. Otherwise, you can come up.
See if I can get this so you can see me and the flame. Let's see if we can do that. Aha. המבדיל בין קודש לחול, חטאותינו ימחול, זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול, והכוכבים בלילה. שבוע טוב, 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 שבוע טוב. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Shavua Tov, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank
You're
And thank
welcome.
you, Jess, behind the scenes, who was
Thank
helping
you.
Thank you,
out.
guys. Yes.
Thank you.
Laurie, I hope you're feeling okay.
Yeah, that was so helpful. I'm going to try to do
Okay,
some of
good.
that on my own week. Maybe next week I'll be able to do a lot more.
Yeah, take it easy. Yeah, it'll happen. It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll get better. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, everyone. Debbie,
You. See you.
Mana, Kerith, thank